So this is a personal video. This is from Ian from the heart. It's not about work, it's about life. And I'm gonna try to be honest and as real as possible about my experience being 27, living here in San Francisco, and the things that I'm thinking about and learning. Now, I've been in San Francisco for just over a year. Before that, I was living in Berlin, but that's a story for a different time. If you can relate to my life circumstance, then I think you'll also find these learnings relevant or interesting, hopefully. Now, I think a lot of us in general are looking for the same things out of our lives here. And and I think we can relate over these. First one, social connection. So this is finding my loving group of friends, always feeling like I have people to see, people I can confide in and be honest with, and feeling like people that know who I am and want to support me becoming who I want to be. Then there's career. I really want to be professionally successful and have a big, high impact in the world. And yeah, I work at an intense startup. I'm working many hours and I'm trying to get a lot done and to advance my career. Fitness, I care about running fast and being incredibly fit. I really want to run like sub 3 marathons, and just like Casey, and I think I can do it this year. But I really care about hitting the gym and getting fit. Lastly, dating. Basically with this, I want to have a fulfilling dating life and to feel like I'm finding connection, that I'm finding my person. But it'll take time, let's not rush it. So these are all going to be super specific because I like those more than general learnings. I have them all right here. There are 7. So let's get started. First one. Swimming in the bay. Swimming in the bay is great and I never regret it. It is cold, but that is the point. I really love just getting my workout bag, getting my workout bag, and then I put my towel in it and I put my speakers in it and I put, I'll put a hat and put some gloves in it and then I go swimming, and I always just feel like a freaking badass after I do it. It makes me feel like I'm doing something for me. It makes me feel like I'm taking myself on a little date. I love watching the sunset. Getting really cold, and it always helps me sleep better at night. So I do it 3 or 4 times a week. I'm always running over there, getting in the water, and it just makes me feel alive, and I love it. So that's the first one, swimming in the bay. Okay, the second one is don't stay at home all day. I work remotely, and with that, it's possible to just stay in your room and to work and get all your stuff done and go to sleep. And even I found, maybe you go out and get a little coffee, you go get a little lunch, come back. But I found that full days that I spend in the apartment, they just don't feel great. And so I found that going to the WeWork, even though WeWorks are sometimes lame, it can still improve the quality of life to just have this routine of leaving the house in the morning, coming back at night, and getting that sort of closure on the day. If you are gonna go to a WeWork in San Francisco, the best one is the Salesforce Tower. It makes you feel like a king. Okay, the next one is kind of related because it has to do with the routines of life, and this is working out in the morning. Now, I start work kind of early, so when I work out before work, it really is getting up very, very early, and that is a very difficult thing. But I found that when I work out before work and then I work, it leaves this time after work where I'm tired, but I am energetic enough to see friends, to do something social. And I found that when I have these little social time and have dinner with a friend or whatever in the evening, it helps me over the course of the week, live a more varied life. Before I found myself just waking up in the morning, working all day, working out, and then coming back and going to sleep. And when you do this over the course of a whole week, that life feels a little bit lacking. And I want to be able to invest more time in seeing friends. And so by working out in the morning, I leave that spot after work to be able to do that. Sometimes it's tough with sleep, whatever, but I found that is worth it. Okay, next one here. No ghosting. When I've gone on early dates here, I found that many times it's misses. Many times you're not going to connect. It's not going to work out. And in those cases, there's a question of how you're going to respond or communicate about that. And one, the easy way is just to recede into the distance, to not communicate how you feel and just slowly let things go. But that is ghosting. And I've realized for myself that this is not the way that I want to handle those situations. Next up, work conferences. That was quite a transition, wasn't it? Work conferences, kind of nice. And by this, I mean, this year I went to 2 conferences that I freaking loved. The first was Config, which is Figma's design conference. And the second was the Notion conference. Both these days were super professionally enriching days and made me feel really excited to be in the software industry and made me feel really connected to others. And I know maybe this is a hot take for professional conferences, but I really enjoyed going. And if you've never lived in San Francisco or been places where they actually host these events, I would encourage you to see what's available, what's the most convenient, and find a way to make it happen. Because I really found that nerding out over the feature releases and getting to meet influencers that were influencers about particular tech, Thomas Frank. I got to meet freaking Thomas Frank. This next one, controversial, but health tracking, totally worth it. Okay, I got the Whoop. And I know no one wants to hear someone talk more about their Whoop, but I just want to say that tracking, in particular, my recovery, I think has made my life better. Now, recovery, it's really an indicator of how well rested you are. And in the Whoop terminology, we would call it in the green, or basically, are you well rested? Are you well slept enough? Have you been eating healthy? Are you working out? It's sort of a proxy for all of those things. And I've decided that it's important for me to stay in the green throughout the course of my life. And when I'm being too social or when I'm not prioritizing health, that's a problem, right? Like I really want to live in the green. So live in this sort of well-rested, energetic state. And the Whoop has helped me track that and also be more intentional about how I'm achieving that on a consistent basis, right? Even if you work in a really intense work environment, I think it's still possible to live in the green. And so that's a motivating idea that I've sort of latched onto this last year that I found helpful for me. And it's something that I think is possible. I believe is possible. It's always an effort. I don't do it perfectly, but it's something that I think is possible. The Whoop helps me track it. And I think that's worth it. For the last one, murder mystery party fun. This comes back to community. I feel like people who are hosting and bringing friends together, I really respect those people. And I feel like I don't do enough, or I want to do more of bringing people together, bringing the friends together. And one event that I went to this year that I had such a fun time going to, and I wanted just to throw out there in the ether, because if you hosted an event like this for your friends, I think it'd be amazing too, was a murder mystery party where we all basically learned certain roles, and then we showed up at this party and we all acted in our parts and tried to figure out who did the murder. Now, it was called a Speakeasy Murder by Freeform Games, and I loved every minute of it. And so I hope that's fun inspo. I want to end this video by saying that I believe in your willpower to get over the hill of intention to action. And that I've said a lot of these things that are sort of aspirational ways to be for myself and maybe for you as well. And I know I say to myself that these things are possible. Living in these ways is possible, right? It's possible to get up in the morning. It's possible to live in the green. It's possible to go to work conferences and host stuff, despite the effort that all of these things do in fact take. Because one of the biggest fears I have is that I live in this world of intention without enough action to back it up. And I want to get to a place where I'm giving evidence to myself that I am the person that I've wanted to be. And so from this desk on a beautiful Saturday morning, I wish you well. And until next time.